Alrighty, folks. James T coming at you from what used to be the top secret location in Texas. It's now in Colorado. Coming at you with the Dirty Desk review. Normally I hit you with firearm reviews, type of things that I usually get into, guns. Not today. I got a couple of different knives here, and I just kind of wanted to go ahead and review them. And they're, you know, different price ranges and different pluses and minuses and positives and whatever, however you want to look at it. Um, but basically, these are all knives that I carry except for one, and it's the Boker that I don't carry. But I'll show you that anyway, just because it's a fun little knife. So let's start with the cheapest. This one here, CRKT Fultz Design Minimalist model. This is a true necker, I think. It's only got a 2 1/4 or 2.5 inch blade, and the retention there is very strong. So I got to give it a good tug to get that out of there. Excuse me if I'm not doing this perfectly in frame here. I'm wearing glasses that take video. I know, strange, right? But anyhow, it's got G10 scales. You can see they are, and for my hand, it fits really well. I don't know if everybody's 3-finger setup's gonna fit like this, and then of course it's got the little lanyard, if you will, to get that pinky grasped on there. I think of this as a true necker, because I mean, first of all, the retention's crazy, so it's not coming out, and it's such a small, lightweight knife that I've literally forgot that I had it around my neck. And I've had times where I've been working up on a ladder and I needed a knife, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta get a knife, but there was one around my neck, and it's kind of a good feeling just to be able to grab that and remember that and kind of use it. The blade came really sharp. It is not as sharp anymore. It's still holding a relatively decent edge, and if you wanted to get a look at the full profile of the edge, you can there. It holds a pretty decent edge, but it's cheap steel. So Fultz makes a minimalist that the man's name is Alan Fultz. CRKT made this. Alan Fultz came up with the design, but Alan Fultz actually makes his own out of better steel. So if you want to spend $100 or $150 on a little neck knife, you can, and buy it with better steel. But the trade-off for having a lower quality, lesser carbon steel is the simple fact that it'll sharpen a lot easier. The high carbon steels are a pain in the butt to sharpen, so while they do hold an edge longer, some people, including myself, are of the school of thought that it's better to have something that you can sharpen and sharpen well than to have something that once it does lose its edge, you're not done for, but it does take a little bit more significant tooling and a little bit more skill to get a nice edge on a carbon blade. But yeah, this has come with the green. I really like this little knife. I think it's a good little slicer. It is still plenty sharp. It's just not as sharp as it was. It's still shave your hair sharp. I demonstrate, but I'm a knife lover, so there's no hair to shave. But yeah, that's the Fultz Minimalist right there, and that is made by CRKT. Like I said, they do make, or Alan Fultz does make a very, very good quality version of this knife. This gets by just fine though, especially as just a emergency necker. Now, keeping in line with CRKT, this is a little bit bigger box, but not a much bigger knife. CRKT, another necker, but I like to wear this on my hip. This is the Skewb, S-P-E-W. So this is another Fultz design, and this has a Wharncliffe. Oh, so I forgot to mention, this has a Bowie profile blade. This is called a Wharncliffe, and I've never even seen this until I got this one particular knife. This is a knife that I carry all the time now. As you can see, it's not real beat up. The edge geometry is really nice. I don't know if you can see it, but I like the grind on it, and it really is just a glorified razor blade. It's super sharp, and that's kind of what the Wharncliffe is all about. Very pointy end. Like, this is the best fingernail picker ever. If you're a mechanic or you do a lot of work with anything dirty, you tend to get stuff under your nails, and this knife is perfect for that. But it's also a great carrier. You forget you got it on once again. A lot of people complain about this little holster here, or sheath, not a holster. Sorry, I've been messing with guns too long. It's carbon. Sorry, it's injected molded, so it's not really a glorious little sheath. and the retention kind of sucks. Out of the box, this little sheath doesn't really hold on to the knife too well. And when you get it, it doesn't have the clip on it. It comes with the lanyard, which is funny because once you put the clip on it, it kind of tightens things up a little bit more, and you actually do get a fairly decent retention. I haven't had this knife fall out with it like that. It would without the clip on, because like I said, the clip kind of sandwiched it a little bit. But the way I wear this, I wear it on my belt just like this. Very simple, just like that. I wear it right across, right on the front of my pants, kind of above my pocket, always quick and ready to go. And I could use this as a self-defense weapon. Of course, any weapon's better than a pointy stick, even if it is just a little tiny pointy piece of metal. But this, being that it does have a I think it's just a regular 3-inch blade. Being it does have the 3-inch blade compared to the smaller blade, this can do some serious cutting. And don't get me wrong, the smaller one could cut you up pretty good too, but it's going to take a lot more skill. The Wharncliffe blade on this, the Wharncliffe grind or whatever profile, that also is pretty conducive to some good, strong ability to cut and slice. And it's a good strong knife in the hand. The way the grip is made, it's a 3-finger knife with the 4th finger kind of hanging out on the bottom. It does get on there, but just not so much. This is the CRKT something Wharncliffe. I don't know what the SPE stands for anymore. I forget. But I would love to see a knife like this in 3.5 inches, because here in the state of Colorado, it is only legal to conceal any knife under 3.5 inches. You want to go over 3.5, you have to wear it out on your hip. And I don't know, I mean, here in Colorado it's an open carry state, so people aren't as nervous about guns and stuff. It is stuff that you see from time to time, people in the store wearing a gun on their hip, which I absolutely love. I'm 100% for it. But people still kind of freak out when they see a big knife on people's hips too, so I like to keep mine concealed. And I mean, really, I'm not trying to flash it around anyway. With this being right in the front of my pants, it's very easy to deploy. And concealment is super simple, because I mean, it just goes right along the belt with that clip there, so it's quick, easy to put back in too. So that's the Skewb. I carry this knife every day, so this is my everyday guy. I open boxes with it and mark wood with it if I'm cutting it and all that kind of stuff that I like to do. So moving on, this knife I think was the second most expensive in the bunch, all of which have figured under 25 bucks. I'm not going to talk about this one too long. It's a simple little Boker. Boker's a Russian company, or at least European. Pretty sure they're Russian. Blade's 440C. It's another really tiny knife, but I think this would be a real good skinner. And I've seen this knife tested in YouTube videos, and it actually holds the edge really well, especially considering it's only 440C. I had a couple other knives in 440C and AUS 8, and both of them have quickly lost their edges, but the people who have reviewed this one have said that it does review very well. I've seen it in action with no extra straight out of the box. So this is something I'm not going to beat up. It's got a nice shiny profile to it. And I know that it's just a Boker. It's just a $25 knife. But it's a cool little knife. I think the only reason why I haven't carried it and put it into use is because I truly do dislike the sheath. Yeah, it goes in like this. Yeah, I don't like it at all. Like it's a belt hanger. You can't put it sideways on your belt. Dang, I can't even get it in the thing. There we go. And so it would be a little bit more kind of concealed, if you will. You can only see the edge, but it's not good for deployment, not good for putting it back in there. I don't really particularly like this knife. I just have it because it's cute. So the knife that I was carrying before the Skewb, here we go, $176.95. This is a Benchmade Osborne 943. I believe it's 152 cm steel. Deploys super fast. Let me see here if I can get a look at the steel. Oh, it's S30V. Great. Okay, so that's the steel that Spyderco uses in their knives. This thing has a really cool lock system. It's called the Axis lock. A lot of Benchmade knives have it. Benchmade is kind of like the top of the mountain for knives. I love this knife. You see that little butterfly, you know you got something good. There are fakes out there, tons of fakes, so you got to be careful. The locking system allows this knife to be opened and closed with one hand. You can use it, flick it open. You can use the knob or the thumb. Fucking thumb thing. I don't care. But when I like that everything can be done with this knife. Sorry, with one hand. And I mean, you can switch it around pretty quick if you need to stab. poke. It's very small, very thin. And the reason I picked this knife is because Benchmade has this habit nowadays of making really fat knives, like the Griptilian and a bunch of those type of knives that just, they don't appeal to me. I love the small, thin profile blade, which is probably why I like the Skewb, because it's a nice, tiny little toothpick blade, and those seem more dangerous to me. Like, they just seem more able and nimble. But I do love this knife. Pocket clip, of course. You see it's getting kind of worn. I use this knife quite a bit, and I'll be honest, the S30V did not hold an edge as well as I had hoped it would. The Benchmade knife was shaving hair sharp when I got it out of the box, and I mean it only took about a week or two before it wasn't, which, I mean, that's kind of a disappointment. I mean, the Skewb is still shaving hair sharp. The EDC Minimalist is not. That one lost its edge, but the Skewb will still shave some hair. And that one, I mean, that's made with an inferior steel. It's not even the same stuff, or as good a quality. And for some reason, this Benchmade, I don't know, I had it for a long time. Maybe I didn't, maybe I kind of just took it for granted and maybe beat on it a little bit or cut some stuff I maybe shouldn't have or something. I don't know. It actually cut some food for me when I first moved into this house because I didn't have any knives yet, so this was my steak knife for a little while, you know. But it worked. It served that purpose, and I mean, it's a great all-around knife. Self-defense, I mean, still, even to this day, it has no play, and I've been beating the hell out of this knife. Most people, oh, you got a Benchmade, you gotta put it in a box and save it. No, I want to use it. I want to try it. I want to see what Benchmade can do. And I mean, as far as the fit and finish, it has remained top quality, with the exception of the clip, and that's to be expected. It's just a clip, but it remains top quality. The edge, maybe not holding on so well, but the profile is still really good. The edge geometry is really good. Perhaps I'd draw it out just a little bit more into the blade, but it lost its sharpness. But then again, I've had it for 6 months constant use, so maybe I'm expecting too much. But for somebody who doesn't typically pay $200 for a knife, you kind of expect more. That said, I'd still recommend it. It's a joy to carry, and it's very lightweight. Aluminum scales, nothing. It's very fast. It's a very fast knife. Oh, and you don't even need to. I forgot to say, you just flick your wrist. I mean, it's almost like a freaking switchblade. It's that fast. You don't need to push the button. There's nothing back here you gotta dilly dally with. You just flick it. Just a little momentum this way, and then the rest of the momentum that way, and it comes out fast. It comes out fast, and it goes in even quicker. So it's a pretty nimble knife, and that's kind of what I like about it. There's situations with like rock climbers and stuff, people who can't get to their knife because you have to use two hands. This is completely single-handed for all purposes. So, I mean, obviously this is the best knife of the bunch. I didn't want to put too much wear and tear on this thing since I'd already beat it up pretty good. So for right now, I'm back to the Skewb. Still a wonderful knife. I love it. It does everything I need it to do. Today I was building a picnic table out of wood, and I use this to make all my cuts, not cuts of the whole board, but just to mark where I needed to measure. But yeah, great little knife. And when I came across the gun show today, a couple days ago, I picked up a Karambit, a really cheap one. I'm just throwing this in at the end for no reason. Proper way to hold this thing, I'm told, is like this here, so you can make use of the knuckle. And this is a gnarly edge. This is 440C as well, and it is crazy sharp. It came crazy sharp. Like you take this and stick it on your arm and shave, it'll just shave the whole thing right off. No missing any hairs or nothing. It's a really cheapo too. It's only like $20. It's a kind of a burden to carry though. Nowadays they make karambits that fold, which I don't know. I kind of want the double edge, but they make folding karambits as well, and I'd like to maybe try to get into one of those too. But yeah, that's it. Those are the knives I wanted to review. Just a quick 1-2 show you guys what I got here. I got obviously a bunch more, but this is just kind of what I've been playing with recently. So that's that. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.